I think that we're gonna keep rolling on this until summer.
That's
my bet.
That's what I was wondering too. Like how many legs does this
You don't
have?
think
I don't
so?
think it has legs. I think it's going to die off after this.
Really?
It's the Pop Report.
So juicy.
It's a new dawn. It's a new day. It's a new freaking year.
It is. We made it.
We did it.
We survived.
I almost said we did it, Joe, and I feel like as time has gone on, it just doesn't land the same. And anyway, how are you?
I'm great.
We're both on the couch again, comfy.
We're back in studio. We're back on the couch. We're not on Zoom anymore.
It's like Bear in the Big Blue House, but two gays on a black couch with green outfits.
Yes, and we decided to do the ambitious 75 hard challenge, which I just learned doesn't mean that you take Viagra for 75 days.
And we're on day 2. So, how's your Viagra?
It hasn't gone down.
I mean, toot. Give it a good toot.
Have you been keeping up?
Have you tried Viagra?
No, I don't need that.
I mean, if you ever get bored one day, just do it.
Why would I get bored and do that? If I would get bored, I would do
Girl,
other things.
I know the things you've tried.
Have you gotten bored and taken Viagra?
No, but let me know. Anyway, it's a new year, and we're off to the races because so much has happened in what day is it? It is the first week of the year. God.
First week of the year, and we're proud to announce that our new sponsor is Viagra.
My house is on fire. Well, half a mile from my house is on fire.
So it might not be around by the time this episode's over.
Everything is in safety. My health and well-being is not on Viagra.
But we're doing good with the 75 hard. There's no alcohol. We're working out daily. We're eating clean,
Zack,
drinking lots of water.
It's the second day, and we've made a pact with friends to keep us accountable. And the number of
Yes.
videos I've seen you post on social, seems like you need to be held accountable.
Well, listen, I misread the group text though, because
Misrepresentation.
I thought that like the whole point was we were supposed to like Jillian Michaels each other and keep each other motivated, and it's like the sisterhood of the traveling jockstrap. Everybody's
Absolutely.
like giving each other compliments, and like I was like, Andy,
It's been
your
24
list.
hours.
No,
I'm gonna rip into you tomorrow, so get ready.
I hope so, because I was like, Andy, you haven't, one of your goals you haven't met today. And then nobody responded, and I was like, wow. And then you're like, cut me some slack, and then everyone hearted your message. And I was like, now I look like the fucking asshole.
No, but you kept me on because I was like, tick, tisk, me flipping my wrist, tisk, 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 with my watch. Anyway.
Well, we're going to go strong. We're on day 2, but I'm ready to dive back into all things pop culture. Are you ready?
I know. Day 2 with a brand new set on life, a brand new... We have people in the studio with us who listen to our Viagra tales.
Yeah, and because we're sponsored by Viagra, she decided to wear blue today. Please welcome from the Sarah Fraser Show, Sarah Fraser.
Miss Cookie Monster.
Oh my God. I meant to ask you about this 75 hard challenge, Zach.
Yeah.
Yeah. 75 days.
Yeah, and if you mess up, if you miss your goal, you have to go back to the first day.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, girl.
That
So
was
if-
not in my terms and conditions.
You don't write. You don't read. You don't write. Yeah. So
Just reading it.
yeah.
Oh my
Welcome
God.
to the couch, Miss Glee herself. Yeah. So we've been doing that. What are you doing this year? Anything fun in your life?
Let's see. I'm getting ready to do an egg donor transfer in February. You know that.
Jesus. Okay.
Wow.
Why does that? So I should be doing the 75 hard. Yeah, I should be going completely clean. I've cleaned up my act a lot. I'm only down to like 1 glass of wine, but I have to have my one
At night, like in the evening.
Yes.
Just like,
oh my God.
Yeah.
And sometimes I like watching your social media because I know
Just
you were
Zach's.
just saying like your first day, it's like you miss. So
Yeah.
nothing is better. I know people always say don't drink alone, but I love drinking by myself.
Oh, it's my
like,
favorite.
You pour a glass of wine, you turn on like the TV,
You're
right?
just, like,
you make
vibing.
dinner, you're vibing.
Well,
I love it solo.
I decided to do the California sober thing. I was like, let me ease myself into no alcohol.
So Zach's just
So
dipping
I got
himself in
high
edibles.
last night.
You know what? Here's the thing I know, and Zach's also on social media. I was sitting there with my roommate discussing how Zach is on social every frame. Okay, so, all right. Okay. All right. And I'm going through and it's blips of little dots. And that's when I know Zach has been on it on social. And then I go, oh, this is different. Zach's looking edible tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, he knows. He knows. Okay. All right.
Well, the funny thing is, I was like, I didn't even think I was that high. And the second people saw like the first 2 seconds of that, the first
It was different.
story,
It didn't start
people
with,
were like,
okay.
oh,
Okay.
can see it in the eyes. I was like, listen, I'm living life.
I couldn't see in the eyes. I could hear it from the tone of your voice.
Oh,
There wasn't-
probably.
There was no, okay. So
Yeah.
there was,
I always start
So.
with an okay. So I've learned that. I need to get better at that.
It's okay.
I know you go on those crutches, right? You just have to get those words.
Yeah.
Speaking of, we have lots of words to get into today.
All right, Andy. Yeah, where are we
I
going?
know we have so much. Girl,
I know.
I'm tired
know.
looking at this list, and we are on the first week of the
know.
year. If you love, obviously, what we discuss on the Pop Report, Sarah, you know what they do?
What?
Subscribe.
Oh, duh.
Duh.
Okay.
I was trying to toss to you. And
Subscribe,
you're going through
like.
it too. Do the whole damn thing.
Oh my God! I pop an edible,
Pop an edible.
pop a Viagra. What do we
Pop a
do here?
Viagra.
Buy from our sponsor. You know, there's so many things, right? Okay. Subscribe.
So, Zach, what is our first hot headline of this episode?
Well, I mean, we got quite a few hot headlines, but do you want to start with Hugh Jackman or Blake and Baldoni?
I want to give Blake and Baldoni a seat because Hugh Jackman is front and center for me.
Okay, so there are all these rumors about Hugh Jackman.
The rumors
about the husband.
nastiness.
That he was cheating on his wife with his co-star in the Broadway musical. Her name is Sutton. And people were like, oh, are they cheating? Is there a scandal? What's going on? What's the lowdown? And so then we get the separation that Sutton's leaving her mad and Hugh Jackman's leaving his wife. And so they're now both single. It's very much like a tie-in to like how Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds met on the set of Green
But you know
Lantern.
what's funny?
What's
when we
funny?
recorded this initial podcast demo, that was our first story is Hugh Jackman splitting up. And
Was
remember
it?
we had
Really?
Evan, we had our friend Evan who was going to do this with us.
Yeah.
And he was like his wife with the updo.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And I said she looked like Brene Brown.
Mm-hmm.
She does.
Hugh Jackman's ex-wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
okay,
looks
I can
just
see
like
that.
Brene Brown. I was like,
Anyway,
I
I
didn't
just
know
want
Brene
to
Brown
give
was
that
dating
27
Hugh
years
Jackman.
together and now they're split.
I thought he was gay.
I thought that too. There were all those rumors for so long, but I would say this solidifies his straightness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think you get divorced.
I
It
think
could
we
still
all
be
wish he
PR
was gay.
orchestrated. Well, we don't know. We don't have fact checkers anymore. So at this point, I can say whatever I want.
God.
Oh, let it rip. Well, I actually spent way too much time on the way over here trying to Google if Sutton Foster was related to David Foster
Or Jodie
and like
Foster.
in part of the Foster family, but I didn't find any connection. Yeah,
Yolanda Foster?
no, Yolanda.
Yolanda Hadid. Oh, sorry, different people.
No, that's the same person.
So, yeah, like these photos have come out of the two of them walking what
hand in
street?
hand.
Yes.
No.
Well, here's the weird thing. They were released, was it in Demois? Or was it, or
Were you confused on how to say Dumois? Because that's
No.
the face you gave.
no, because I was shocked that like normally you do an Us Weekly exclusive or
People
like
photos.
people photos, but like to go with Demois, which again,
It's
which
because
is
no one wanted to buy the photos. That's what it
Well,
is. It's the end of the day.
it was
Oh, you
very
think?
well. It was very. These are very obviously like preset paparazzi pictures, but it's similar to like what we were discussing on your show about how like the wave of new media and TikTok and all of this is really kind of setting, you know, that traditional People magazine, Us Weekly, like that's kind of going away
I
because
know.
nobody's waiting for the new issue of Us Weekly at CVS anymore. Now they want their news in real time on TikTok.
Here's the theory I've heard also
I know.
online. Because we are getting get into everything of It Ends With Us, but Hugh Jackman was in the press, you know,
Mm-hmm.
for It Ends With Us. So there were some theories online that people claimed, I don't know if I believe this or not, that these were photos planted to distract from Hugh Jackman being involved with It
Oh,
Ends With
maybe.
Us. So people were like, okay,
Yeah.
here's the deal. But when it comes to those photos too, there's a process. So when it comes for paparazzi photos, they're on a bid by bid basis. So Backgrid, Mega, Splash, they're all on their desk, and whoever buys them first, it's the dynamic pricing. So maybe a publisher was like, listen, $10,000 for that photo, like we don't want it. Like that's not
Yeah.
worth it to us.
Yeah.
So this dynamic floor pricing is very interesting. Seeing that also like you have to they shop these photos around. So
Yeah.
it's not like someone always has an exclusive. It's who wants to buy it first sometimes.
Yes. Okay. Well, clearly, I mean, I don't think Dumas paid any money. Do you?
That
Yeah.
they have
You
to.
think Du
I
paid?
think it-
you
oh,
think Du
this-
paid
oh,
something?
Yeah,
At this point,
thousands
they're
of dollars.
trying. They've got money now, and they're investing that money, and they're trying to build. In
Oh, all right,
yeah.
Du. Well,
They're
there
Hit
you
it,
go.
Du.
They're like
They're not
Bethany
anonymous
said, they're now
photos.
at the level.
They're-
So here's a little tip. If you see if you see
Okay.
a credit of Mega, Backgrid, Splash, they have to do that when they pay for the photos. A lot of these
Oh, look at
agencies
this. I'm
are
learning
also
this. I didn't know
cracking
this.
down on these influencers and people who have become businesses and asking them if they don't correctly purchase them, that they owe them thousands upon thousands of dollars in a settlement.
Really?
So a lot of
Wow.
people you saw Dumois like post these photos of like dates and stuff, but now like the paparazzi are like approaching these places like Du and
Yeah.
you know, I don't know where this photo
Interesting.
made its rounds initially, like who had the first look, but like I guess Dumois had them.
Yeah.
It was an interesting move.
They look very happy in the photo, though.
They do. And, you know, I think we've seen over the years, most people have affairs, but then they'll go back to their significant others. I mean, it's very hard to actually make the step to divorce. So this was very interesting to me. Like, I feel like they must have felt, the two of them, that they really had this incredible connection
Correct.
to both end, you know, within months or something of one another.
Hers was around October, I think it ended. They separated, but his was
Yeah.
last year. You know,
Same,
so
well, last year
I
was
think-
October.
well,
His
correct,
was,
but like
I think his
early
was,
last year.
I think it was August, is when his.
No, it was
divorce was
earlier because we
announced.
went, we
Oh,
covered
maybe
it
the divorce was
February,
finalized in August.
probably.
Mm.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. I mean, this story is sort of like, I'm not that invested
yes,
in
it was
it.
the separation that we covered with.
hold my
Evan.
hand on this
'Cause I was
couch.
like, wait, now I remember. We talked about them announcing their separation, but the divorce didn't come until months later.
I think they've been in love and connected for a very long time.
I still think he's gay.
Oh.
Anyway, this other
No,
hot
I get it. I
headline-
felt that way. What was the movie that he was so, you know, oh my God, it was so good with the music. I'm trying to think of
The
what.
Greatest Showman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Girl,
That's when I
you
thought he
couldn't
was a little
remember
gay. I know, right?
Mm.
Okay. Too many things going on in this head. But yeah, that was when I was like, yeah, I feel like he's gay. But then,
I think everyone has a little gay rumor. Vin Diesel, you know, the whole 9 yards.
I mean, and John Travolta. Where's John Travolta's
He's
lover?
gay.
Well, I know, but where's the lover?
The gay police.
Where's the
Bring
gay
that show
police?
together.
Where's-
I'd like to see that.
I know. I'm
Other
waiting
hot
for that.
headlines, though. We brought up It Ends With Us for a hot minute.
Yeah.
In the times we thought it would end with us, it has not ended with us, and it's still in the new year with us.
Yeah.
Zach has been doing an amazing job on his podcast. Yeah, tap, 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 clap. I'm trying to do. There you go. Little ring clap.
you wanna hold-
You've been covering it very well.
Do you
You're
wanna hold
holding
space for
space
me?
for your
Thank
legal
you.
analysis, the
Thank you.
the brief readings. You've done a good job,
Thank you.
and
I
that's
mean,
it. That's all you get. No,
The lawsuits and the filings are so long that I like had to take like study breaks and like reread
Oh.
because they're so long but so messy and so good.
And to catch people up, we have been off of this podcast for the holiday break. In the time that happened, a New York Times article has come out.
Yeah.
A lawsuit has come out. A
Multiple lawsuits.
counter lawsuit. And so initially, when this came out, I had, and like the rest of people, very strong feelings. And I was like, this New York Times article, I'm not fully convinced. Like when it initially came out, I was
Yeah.
like, there has to be more. I'm holding my breath. I made one comment on social,
I saw that.
and people had their thoughts as well. But like, I said, look, this just feels like it's missing like proof, evidence, and we've been just getting a slew and like I would say like a landslide of texts and other things coming out, and I'm still holding my breath because I think that we're gonna keep rolling on this until summer.
You
That's my
do.
bet.
That's what I was wondering too. Like, how
Yeah.
many legs does this
You don't
have?
think
I don't
so.
think it has legs. I think it's gonna die off after this.
Really?
I think the intention was for them to try to sway the public. Just what we discussed on your show, the
Yep.
strategy of how they each went about this. Him suing the New York Times, I don't know if he's going to win that. Her lawsuit, I don't think that's going to go all the way. I don't think she has enough strong evidence. The Jones Work lawsuit, like a lot of it just feels like it's all PR theatrics to try to win the audience over rather than any of them are planning to win any of their lawsuits. Because the reality is, and we saw this happen with Heard and Depp, is once the allegations came out and the lawsuit came out, there was a whole dead period before people gave a shit about it until the trial began.
Yeah,
people
that's
didn't
true.
care about
Yeah.
the details until it got in court. And in this case, even if it goes to court, it's not going to be televised because she's trying to get it, held as a federal case out in New York, which doesn't get televised. So I don't know if, we're going to get much more after this. And I think if anything, the smarter thing for them all to do is be like, we told our side of the story. Let's let these lawsuits get dismissed, die down, move
And
on.
with us,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I mean, we'll see, right? Because I think it will pick back up if Baldoni, his attorney, says that they're going to personally sue.
Yeah.
If that happens, I think it does have a lot more legs until we get to the Diddy trial in May, and then if that trial
Too
really
many
goes
trials, too little time.
forward. And the Jay-Z stuff, like, I mean,
Yeah.
We still haven't gotten a. I forgot about that.
I know,
It's
right?
like
We'll see
every
where that
week-
goes.
Every week is like, let me hold my drink. Like, life is really throwing
I
us
know.
lemons and making fucking like lemonade from the amusement park that's $14.
Yeah.
But it's like where this stands right now, you're right. Like, where is it going to go if it's not televised? Everyone is just now on a reputation kind of like situation station. There's a lot of questions still. Cast behavior, dynamics, set behavior. And a lot of people are like, it's going to come down to the crew of behind the scenes behavior. And there was a girl who even stitched one of your videos that you and I both saw, who was speaking about the costume and the wardrobe. And like the etiquette of A-list stars and how Blake's behavior wasn't, let's say, like out of the ordinary. But the people from below the line, the PAs to Crafty, like, I think a lot of people are going to somehow slip their stories in, and we're going to get this new wave of like, I worked with this person, here's what happened. And because the author of It Ends With Us wasn't on set, and because some of these other people who were involved weren't on set, we're going to get a new take, I think, of like...
But wait, did you guys believe, Jenny, it's Jenny Slater?
Yeah.
Okay, did you believe her? Like, she came out, the hot guy that plays...
Correct. Those two said they were like standing with Blake Lively.
Yeah.
And
did you find that like super credible? Or
No, listen, this is Hollywood, and everybody's performative, and everyone's going to stand with what they... I mean,
they're going to
Hollywood
pick
is
a
still
side
the
they
most
think is going to
woke
win.
Of everything that we have right now, they're going to go with the side of the person they think is going to be the right side, right? And here's the other thing. Well, hold on, let me finish my statement.
Do that.
But the other thing, too, is outside of their performance, you have to understand that they probably didn't have much interactions with Blake, nor did they see the interactions between Blake and Baldoni, because a lot of this is going on behind the scenes about production, her in the editing room, or all these other things that are happening that Baldoni's team has seen and Blake's team has seen, but I don't think the other cast members are necessarily around for. Maybe he was a bit of a douche. Maybe he, was a little too strong in his direction, or maybe he was a tool on set, but that doesn't show harassment. You also have, Blake's reputation of she's been known to be difficult on sets for years, known to have fallouts with cast members. We don't have that history with Baldoni. Even when it comes to these allegations of harassment, we saw what was his last major gig was Jane the Virgin. He was very close with Gina Rodriguez. He officiated her wedding. That like you would think we would have heard things back then, and even if not back then, people would have come out on TikTok now to be like, this is what went down on the set of Jane the Virgin. And I've heard from people, and I have had people from the set of Jane the Virgin that reached out to me, and they said it's actually the complete opposite. And I've had people that have worked with Blake Lively directly that have come out with me, and they're like, listen, her companies have had a lot of lawsuits, harassment lawsuits that her former employees have tried to bring forth. They're like Sloan what's her name? Leslie, right? Leslie Sloan. Leslie Sloan, her publicist, that she's worked very, very hard over the years to bury those lawsuits so that they don't come out publicly. She's a very powerful publicist.
Yes, and that's what goes back to when everyone's like, whose side do you take? I'm fucking still split, because do you side with Orion and Blake, who are very powerful? You have the evidence of or claims of like sexual harassment, but you have texts coming out of like, I'm pumping in my trailer, come on in. And so you're sitting here being like, I've been told to believe allegations at all times, but I'm also sitting here with this evidence of texts and both sides, but there's missing pieces of evidence on both sides. So you're like, we've over the years been muddled so many times with like, I've been told by society to do this, and now we sit here and we're like, fuck, like I don't know what to
I
do.
never know.
And that's what the standard should be, though, right?
Yeah,
like we should, but we unfortunately have had people like Jussie Smollett and Amber Heard that have come forth and tried to manipulate the public with this victim narrative that has now been exposed, that now people are naturally just questioning everything.
And you may not
100%.
like the person, but when a victim case happens, they are still a victim. And so that's been the other issue, is like, no matter what, if you don't like either person, there's still victim behavior, and there's still like unfortunate things that have happened, probably on both sides, as more evidence comes up.
Well, and everyone is innocent until proven guilty. That argument goes both ways. You can't that's just because somebody makes the allegations doesn't automatically make them right or wrong. We have to see it all play out, and unfortunately, from what we've seen so far, I think he has a much stronger case. And you see, when you really look at how the article came out, and the potential PR planning of this New York Times article, it brings a lot of questions, especially into like the ethics of them running this story the way that they did.
I know. And you do think look, we were talking about this. Zach and I were. It's like
Just Zack and you.
Well, because we just taped the podcast.
I know.
Sorry, Andy, you're out.
Fine.
No, but we were just saying, Ryan Reynolds, I think they're going to survive this, Ryan and Blake. But you wonder, like, I hope.
Maybe.
I know Zach says no, but I'm like,
you have to think, like, is this going to ruin future opportunity?
I feel like he's so big. He's so invested in that Deadpool.
He wasn't there for the Golden Globes.
I know. I posted that too, but then I had people that messaged me and said they actually haven't attended for 5 years. Like, that's really
they haven't attended since 2017, which is the last time he was nominated for the Golden Globes. Context matters, and those are the details, because they said the same thing. But those people said the same thing. They're like, well, they haven't gone for the last 8 years. And I was like, well, because he hasn't been nominated in the last 8 years. So if you're not popular enough to get an invite there.
But why is Melissa McCarthy there?
Didn't she just do The Little Mermaid?
There's a couple people who I'm like, you're there for what? Like, but I'm not mad.
Don't
you're
talk
there.
about my Kylie Jenner like
it's
that.
All PR,
PR
who's popular.
They don't need it.
Who's going to get
it's
the
like Taylor.
attention.
It's like, do you need to come?
No.
Unless you're nominated. But the Globes, as a segue.
Oh, the Globes.
To get us out of everything on our hot headlines. Ooh, everyone take a beat. Everyone take a brow sweat.
I don't.
Did everybody watch the Globes in this room?
Oh my God, this is going to sound very butch of me, but I actually watched football because my husband.
That's hilarious.
Butch in that outfit? Come on.
Because my husband is from Michigan, so we're huge Detroit Lions fans. So huge Lions game against the Vikings. Same time as the Globe. Sorry, I know. This is very
It's
butch.
okay.
We're
It's okay.
going left here.
You don't have to apologize to me. Just apologize to America.
But I had to watch. I'm a huge Nikki Glasser fan, so I had to watch the opening. So I'm watching on my phone while watching football. She was the best part for me. I mean, so good.
She was good.
I love her.
She had such a great start. So Nikki Glasser, I think, killed it right out the gate.
Yeah.
I think the award show itself, I was like, which one is longer, the Brutalist or the Golden Globes? Because this is now hitting 3 hours. And there was so much, I feel like, cut from her time. And I was like, you are winning. You are stealing this. The little bits and other things, I got tired. Papa was ready to sleep.
And I know this was on your prep for you guys for this show today, but I have to say, when she went on Howard Stern the next day.
93 times she rehearsed also.
I loved it. I did learn a lot from her about the rehearsal because unlike Zach, a lot of times I don't do enough research. So I've been inspired by Zach this week and Nikki Glasser. Like the amount of, I'm like, you know what, Sarah, you gotta step up your game
Hoist
in
up your
2025.
pantyhose and let's go.
I know. I get too excited about the gossip and then I'll just go live and I'm like, oh fuck it, I'll correct the details later. And I'm like, no, you gotta like slow down.
It's hard.
So I loved that part. But then she went on Stern the next day and she sort of did like the Stern files.
Well,
and I liked those jokes better actually than the
Really?
ones she delivered.
Do you wanna
They
read
were
some of
so
them?
good.
Do you want to read some
Yes,
of
we'll
them?
read some of these. So these are some of the jokes that were cut from her opening monologue, which I thought were really great. But then there was also, I heard that she was not allowed to make any jokes about Ryan and Blake.
I had heard that too.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I thought it was a little safe.
Hit
Yeah.
me with
her.
your first, give me your first Nikki Glasser cut. Give me like your top
Okay.
5.
First, well, I mean, there aren't many. We can read through all of them. I saw Joker 2, and, it reminded me of when the first Joker came out, and I was in theaters, and I was afraid that someone was going to shoot it up. And then, during Joker 2, I really wish they would have.
See, that's so good because that movie was horrendous.
Is it bad because I love dark humor?
But that's
Me
what
too.
she's good at. And this is, again, I think, like,
I'm with you on this.
people are wanting to get back to the roast, of where
She
we're
said she
all in
hated
on the joke.
roast too. She's like, I hate roast.
Yeah. Well, I mean, roasts are brutal. But I like how she did talk about how, the Brady roast. I mean, that's really what put her back on the map. But I think it's because, I mean, think about it. That was Comedy Central was so good at doing that, and then they went away from that and they started getting a lot safer. And now that we're getting back, like that's what put Whitney Cummings on the map originally. Was the roast, and I feel like Nikki Glasser's now been able to kind of have that. Okay, here's another joke. Glenn Powell is nominated tonight for Hitman. Who would have thought that by the end of the year you'd be the second hottest hitman in America?
Yeah, I saw that one and I was like, touche, Nikki.
If Adam Brody could go back in time, he would thank baby Hitler for his career.
Okay, I could have done without that one. That one, like,
That one was lame.
The other two, amazing. She should have brought those into the rotation.
Amy Adams is nominated for her performance in Night Bitch, while I was totally snubbed for my performance in Day Slut.
Okay.
The Wild Robot is nominated tonight, and by that I mean Nicole Kidman after 2 wines.
She looks
I loved some of these.
That was
She
so
really
good. She does. She looks like, unfortunately, an anorexic robot. I mean, it's just like it's like taken over.
Daniel Craig is nominated for his performance in
Queer.
Queer, which is a movie and not just what my Uncle Chucky calls Wicked.
I loved that one. I loved that one. I
So
think
good that should have made it.
so. The thing is, Nikki has been rumored by Dick Clark Productions, and there's been reports that she is confirmed for also another year.
Yeah.
Do we want Nikki to come back for another year?
Yes.
Listen,
More
when
brutal.
Ricky Gervais, they brought him back. He was the last best host
He
that they
was the-
had.
I was
but it
gonna
was
say-
because he went so ruthless. And I feel like we kind of got away from that era of like, because we had Ricky Gervais and we had Joan Rivers, right? And I think what
Icons.
people loved about these, there was humor and there was like, we can laugh at Hollywood, and Hollywood was like, okay, because it's like, we know that like, you're all getting paid so much money and the world that you're in is such a bubble. And so rather than making this award show just this big circle jerk of each other, like let's be able to laugh at it at the same time. So that's why I think Gervais and Joan were so strong, because they were anchors. He would host the show, she would recap the red carpet, and like people were able to kind of enjoy it all.
I think Nikki is also relatable, and like
Yeah.
the comedic
Very.
stuff, she'd be like, I'm a normal person too. And I think that's why like you can have that like gut punch joke. And like I think Joan also was like kind of relatable. She's like, I just want to fucking sit at home with a glass of wine and all this shit. And you're like, okay,
and they both,
you're a normal fucking human.
Joan
Yeah.
and Nikki to me are like women that almost like schlep their own bags. Like, Joan until the very end was like still working cruise ships. Like
Yeah.
you were saying, Nikki Glasser here in Hollywood, the night before the Globes, she was out at like the Laugh Factory working that material. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I think there is something so down to earth about Joan and Nikki that
Yeah.
everybody relates to. And I have to say, I'm with you. Ricky Gervais steals it. Sometimes when I'm actually feeling low, I will bring up
Yeah.
that first 5 minutes of his Globes. I mean, it was so good the way he roasted them. And, oh my God.
Question
the
for
best.
both of you.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you could reboot Fashion Police, speaking of Joan Rivers, who would be on Fashion Police today?
Oh, I don't know if we can. You would need somebody
I'd put
like
Nikki
a
Glaser.
They've tried.
But
They've
you would
really
need
tried.
what it is you need someone like Joan Rivers, who's of a certain age where she could just get away with saying whatever she wants as the anchor of the show. Do we have a?
Chelsea Handler's the only person who like
She's
kind
not
of
old
comes
enough.
adjacent.
You need someone that's like in that, because like when your grandma says something crazy, you're just like, all right, she's crazy. We're not gonna like
Kathy Bates.
She's too
No,
boring.
You said
Yeah,
old.
I
We need
know.
old, but like Joan was old and she was like
Relevant.
Joan was
But
antediluvian.
Joan, I mean, when you think about it, Joan and Melissa started those red carpets. I mean, even
Yeah.
probably when Joan was like 60,
Yeah.
and then before Fashion Police, remember, they would just
Yeah.
do the red carpet. Joan would roast people as
Yeah.
they came up, and some stars wouldn't want to see Joan or whatever, but it was so good. And then they moved into Fashion Police and had, I don't know what it was, 7-year run, something like that. But they've tried. I mean, God, they've brought back Kathy
God.
Griffith. They've tried
We had the
everybody.
Critics' Choice Awards coming up with Chelsea Handler. They're like poking fun at her coming back to E. I feel like E's like we're trying to get us back, but like
They've been trying for a minute.
I
A long
know.
time, a very long time.
Oh, wait, okay, let me do one more Nikki Glaser joke and then we can move on.
Love.
Okay. Michael Keaton was so great in Beetlejuice, and Alec Baldwin sadly did not come back to play a ghost because he was too busy making them.
Oh, that one would have been so.
In our music news before my non-existent
All right,
Botox hits
that
in.
one's pretty brutal. That one would have that one's pretty brutal.
Yeah.
That one I would have skipped. But the first two were epic. The Nicole Kidman robot, epic. But I thought when she was on Howard, I liked some of those actually even better than
Yeah.
the Benny Blanco getting granted a genie wish was so great. I mean, when you
Oh,
see
yeah.
him
He's
next
so
to
low-hanging
Selena Gomez,
fruit,
I
and
mean,
it's-
so he seems like the sweetest person too, and so talented. But you're just like, oy vey, yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't looking that hot that night. I was like, he's looking a little like,
Have you seen Benny
Rough.
Blanco look hot? Would bring up a photo.
I don't
Okay.
know. Isn't there, who's the other? I don't know. Wasn't there another one?
Like another guy that like Benny Blanco that
Yeah.
wasn't super attractive.
Who's the hot one?
Who are you? I'll let you.
Well, she was with, she went from Justin Bieber. Then there was somebody in between Justin Bieber
You're
and
talking
Benny
about
Blanco.
like Drew Taggart from the Chainsmokers?
Oh, he's cute, but that's not who I was talking about. She
Anyway.
dated him?
Yes, they went on a date at least.
Oh. Don't you know someone related to him?
Drew Taggart?
Somebody does.
Anyway, in our music news, speaking of musicians, we brought up the Joker in Golden Globes. Lady Gaga has just joined Michael Jackson and Janet Jackson as the only artist to score multiple #1 hits on the Hot 100 in 3 distinct decades. Now, hold up.
Wow.
I'm a bit confused because Gaga didn't release anything yet, and this has been announced in the first week of the month. And so, like, what did we now realize this, or like when did we fish this out of like the sewage?
Well, that was like when we named Beyonce Artist of the Century in 2024, a quarter into the century.
And I was like,
wait a minute.
I was like, Hercules.
She's already the artist of the century?
I mean,
we're
Gaga.
only 24 years in.
But like, Beyonce hasn't done that.
Great
Maybe
point.
because she was in Destiny's
Great
Child.
point.
Actually, I don't think she's landed on the Hot 100 a lot as much #1 spot. Has
Well-
Gaga though? Damn.
She must be. I mean, even though we're not fully through the third decade, I think just the number. But here's the hard part when you compare someone like Lady Gaga to like Michael Jackson or Janet Jackson, is because the era of accessing music then was
Right.
very different than now, and the way we count streams versus the way we were listening to music, in the 2000s,
And
you had to
radio
buy
plays.
CDs, and it
Yeah.
was very different. Where like now you can put Lady Gaga on repeat and you have 10 streams back to back to back to back to back, and then those numbers get
It's like units sold, and it's also streams. It's like a different
Yeah.
interpolation.
yeah.
But
It's a different metric that I don't think it's entirely fair.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
good for her though. I don't know what single she just
Good
put
for
out
her because the Joker too fucking flopped.
what single was it on the Hot 100 that put to #1? Because like Disease, I didn't think hit one on the Hot 100.
Yeah.
Oh, didn't she just collab with someone? I feel like.
Oh,
didn't
Bruno
she-
Mars.
There you
That's
go.
not
I
up there,
think that
though.
one.
What?
That's not up there.
Yeah, it was. It was.
It's still in the Hot 100. It went
that-
to #1.
That really. That
Guy
was,
with a smile?
No, I saw that last night or this morning. There was something with Bruno and Gaga that also made some sort of headline. That it like broke some sort of record there. Because I remember thinking the exact same thing. I was like, Bruno and Gaga. That's
I know. It was.
not-
Yeah, you didn't expect it, but that one I think did well.
I didn't even care for it.
Me looking for the Hot 100 list as we speak right now.
But let me.
Yeah,
see.
Die with a Smile, #1.
Yeah.
Very surprising. I
Yeah,
didn't think
it
that
is
would come back up
surprising.
in units, and it's been on the charts for 20 weeks.
100.
That's why I was sitting here. I was like, it's been out for a while.
131 days at #1 on the global Spotify charts.
Wow.
Wow.
Well,
Bad Bunny. That's what I was thinking of.
Oh, okay. There you go. Bad Bunny. Yes.
He's
Yes.
cute.
he's cute.
I mean, I love Benny Blanco's personality. I mean, he just seems like a guy like you would have a drink with, you would chat with, he would give you like free advice. But I'm just saying, in the like of those two together, you're like, what an interesting combo.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. Should we do some couples corner?
Yeah.
So, I mean, nothing groundbreaking, but we have 2 divorces that have finally been finalized. We have Ben and JLO and Brad and Angelina. So, Ben and JLo, their divorce was very speedy because, I mean, it's only been a couple of months since they decided to split. But Brad and Angelina have been divorcing for the last 8 years.
I can't believe how long it's
Can you
been.
imagine that sentence that once more been divorcing for the past 8 years?
That's like Bethany
Sounds like an
Frankel.
active verb.
I know. What was that? A decade with Jason
Yeah.
Hoppy? That was such a long divorce. Yeah.
I couldn't imagine.
Can you imagine the
divorcing
legal
somebody
fees?
for that
Think of
long.
also like going
Yeah.
back to
No.
our first story. It ends with us. It ends with the legal bill.
Yeah.
Like
That's who really wins in all
Lawyers
this, are
always
the
win.
attorneys.
Lawyers
That's
always win.
totally always the lawyers always
I'm
win.
just like, ugh, the winery, the whole like
Oh, that's still ongoing. The Miraval
Yes.
lawsuit is still ongoing.
Angelina doing her thing and like, ugh, like to have a marriage dragged out. I can't imagine being with someone that you have a child with and being in a marriage and then going to being like, I don't want to say enemies, but you're at each other.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't understand my life.
yeah.
It's so interesting because they had such opposite divorces, right? Ben and JLo, super amicable. They kept the assets that they brought into the marriage. Nobody's paying any spousal support. Like, it's super clean, cut and dry. You take what's yours. I take what's mine. What I made is mine. What you made is yours. Done.
I think they want it clean for how long it was in the press.
Yeah. And whereas Brad and Angelina are just like, let's go over every single penny and get the kids involved and let's get this messy. And so,
I mean, look at also the time of like,
yeah,
it's kind of hard to compare couple to couple because one was together for quite a few years. Ben and Jen never really did it. They had chances to do it, but they never fully committed on their lives together.
Yeah. And they don't have kids together.
No.
And the only property I think they shared was that house that they were selling.
That house, and it's still for sale.
Yeah.
Oh,
and I
great.
would imagine they're just going to split it down the middle.
Zach and I would split it down the middle.
It's the way to do it.
That's the way to do it.
Okay, well, that's our couples news. I mean, is there anybody else that's dating or not dating or divorcing? I don't think so. I think that's all of it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't. You look at me as like, I know all the married men.
I'm trying to think of who else is.
I don't think there were
dating.
Anybody on the market
No.
that we can set Zachary up with?
Oh.
Okay, different things.
All right.
But last but not least, we have some small tech news. We have TikTok. If it's going to stay or not, we don't know, girl.
Kevin
Kevin
O'Leary.
Kevin O'Leary
Mr.
is
Wonderful.
trying to buy it. Mr.
Mr.
Wonderful wants to make TikTok wonderful again.
I don't know
Please.
how. I don't know why. I don't know where. If he finds the money, he'll find the money and he'll do it. But, I mean, we have that, and then we have Meta being like, we're changing everything. And so I feel like everyone right now, between Elon Musk,
I love it.
your TikTok, and your Meta, everyone's like, my socials are fucked. I don't know what's happening, where it's going, who's in
gets so
control of
good.
what.
Yeah.
You have nowhere is safe.
That's where, yes, but also at the
I'm
same
glad
time,
though. I'm
Yeah.
happy. Like I'm so fucking tired of Meta and that bullshit. Like I mean, you know, when people can write you anything, they can call you ugly and fat and everything, and you write back, "Hey, you dumb fucking bitch, you're fat too." And then Mega writes, "Oh, do you really want to send
Harassment,
this?
yeah.
You know, do you really?
Community,
You should
yeah.
think twice." No, fuck
Community
off. I'm
violations.
over 18. Like if
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm over 21. If I think I'm being cyberbullied, I'll pull back. Like it's all good.
Yeah.
But the one thing I love about Mark Zuckerberg is, you know, he's going to flip flop. Like that man will go wherever the
Yeah.
money is.
You were just
He
saying this
doesn't
before
give-
we even started. Yeah.
I love this man. Wherever
he's
the
the
money
Sheena
flows,
Shea.
he doesn't care. I swear to God, Saudi Arabia will buy him next. He'll be like, "I want to make an announcement." You know, I mean, he just
It's so
anyone.
random. I was like, none of us expected this announcement. None of us were asking for it. And he's like, I have a video to make that's 5 minutes and 18 seconds on
Yeah.
Instagram today.
haven't
I'm like,
seen him in
this is the way
years.
we're going to do it.
Yeah.
It was
It's-
very interesting. I will say that what I do like now, I mean, listen, we have Elon, we have Kevin Leary, we have Zuck.
Oh.
Zuck's a little
Bunch of
different,
random
but I
dudes.
just feel like it's
The sisterhood of the
interesting.
traveling tech bros.
Right?
Right?
Yeah. But what I think is interesting is or at least exciting from where I sit, which I know not everybody agrees, but I just think it's exciting because it's totally upending everything, right? Like there was this standard that we had and everybody thought they knew what media was. And I mean, even like we were talking about with like social media and people being able to create a podcast and be able to build, you know, things that like shows that we've been able to build. Like it's incredible to see this whole world that for so many years was, you know, safeguarded, and now like everything's just like all the dust has come up
Yeah.
and we don't know how it's gonna go. We don't know where anything's gonna
Socials
land.
change every year.
Yeah.
And you
They
can,
do.
I don't
that's
think anybody
exciting
can-
to me.
I think I'm fucking tired.
It's scary, but I
I'm
think that's the
tired.
exciting part is it's like we have no idea what's gonna happen.
I agree. It's going to be on because I mean, you know, I think that Mark Zuckerberg has an axe to grind. I
Yeah.
think he's furious. You know, right? He did what he thought that administration wanted.
Yeah.
So he suppressed information, all
Yeah.
that stuff. Now I think he's like furious. I think he's going to let it all rip.
I think he's trying to right now just make sure that he is cool with whoever's coming in. So whatever house is in charge, he's
Yeah.
like, just don't come after me is
Yeah.
the real deal.
Yeah.
And he specifically in his announcement video said, we are changing our content moderation policies similar to X.
Yeah.
So he's like, I am saying this
Yeah.
word for word to let you all know. I know how the boys in the playground are, and I know how my sandbox is. Let's all keep ours clean.
Well, I think also people underestimated the power of X and the power of switching over to community notes and how much that really gave a voice to people again in our
Yeah.
country that like, you know, it's really shaking everything up in a way that we're going to see how it all plays out. But I mean, I'm kind of excited if Kevin Leary comes in and buys TikTok
that would
and
be
like
great.
what the fuck, like let's take it out of China's hands and let's see what we can do with this. Like,
I don't think China. I don't know if China's going to sell, but
I don't know, girl. I mean,
know.
Oracle may come back in and say, look, we'll do what we did with like other companies, but I mean,
But
it
Andy,
is.
you're in the publication space. Like, do you think TikTok will be saved at the last minute, or do you think? Because I keep having this feeling. I feel like it is going to go away for a while.
So
It
Trump
might.
has said like, look, like let's pause this for
Yeah.
now. So there's a grace there. If the president sitting in is going to say like let's veto this, it's going to get vetoed. Which he's the person who also started it. Was like put it away. So that's weird. But at the same time, we're looking at all these different tech spaces and more of like, is TikTok going away? Is Meta changing? And it's like everyone's going to be watching everybody else. So like everyone's going to adapt in some way.
Yeah.
The numbers, TikTok leads.
Oh,
TikTok
it's
leads.
amazing.
Meta is second. And then when it comes to X, it's declined. Actually, Threads has more active users than X now. And so like everyone's obviously paying attention, but
Yeah.
the rapid rise of social platforms, everyone just knows you can go from 0 to 100, 100 to 0. So you're like, I got to play
Yeah.
somehow in this. And they're making, I would say, very rash decisions. Like very like, we're doing it and we're doing it now. So like
Yeah.
it is not used to, I'd say like in this publisher space, what I've seen is like we're taking 3 months of product testing. We're taking 6 months of like active user field data.
Things move too fast to wait that long anymore.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the older days of, sorry, and I know we have to wrap, but like Google and Yahoo and AOL. Remember that? And there was
Yeah.
that competition then
Yeah.
before Google really kind of, pushed forward, but there was that competition and everybody kind of fighting to be who's going to be the bigger platform.
Well, and when YouTube
I feel
was
like that's where we're
independent before
Yeah.
they were bought by Google,
Yeah.
and that was just such an amazing platform,
Yeah.
Now it's why, I mean, my feeling is like podcasting has another like probably 5 really, really, really good years
Yeah.
before, we are
at. Evolve into the next
yeah, and involve into the next thing. But yeah, I always tell people like this is it. The next 5 years it's going to be really good for podcasters.
Yeah. I mean, it's just going to be scary. And everyone's going to be an armchair expert now.
Yeah.
And it's like, where's your certification? To be like, I have a podcast. And I'm like, cool.
Well, I don't feel bad about that because the
Yeah.
gatekeepers got themselves exactly what they deserve.
took us to the place that we were in.
100%.
I think everyone who's
and-
made a podcast had some distaste with legacy media or something of the sort. They're like, okay, I have somewhat enough credentials to say like I have a backing, but yeah, there are a majority of us who like we've been in this field, we've been doing it. And there's
Yeah.
the others who are like still figuring out their niche, but I think a lot of people are just having distaste, and so when it comes to whatever's going to happen, I'm just interested to see the finger pointing, the policing, and
I
everyone's
love
gonna be
it.
like, my opinion's
can't
right,
wait.
and it's right.
And I think most people that are smart know you have to do a lot of research. Like I think the best
Yeah.
part is like I think people are learning from these New York Times articles, from these Amber Heard, Johnny Depp things that are playing
Yeah.
out, and then people giving like lawyers stepping in and having podcasts and giving their
Yeah.
commentary. I think people are learning
Media
Yes,
literacy.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
have their instant. Like I have my blink about the Blake Lively, Justin, Baldoni case, but then you're also like. Okay, you and I were talking. Let's just sit back. Let's see how more evidence comes out, more information. Let's see if other crew members come out. I think people are beginning to do in every aspect,
Yeah.
right? We're seeing it in health, in pop culture, everywhere. They're sort of going, all right, let me listen to a couple different things here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My last comment I'll make on it is it's just such an insult to say to somebody saying you're so 2010 Facebook. Like one like equals one prayer, girl. Like I get you. Like that's when we all know you're a little behind. But oh my God, it's so fun to have you here. Wow, so knowledgeable, so butch, so fun, so Cookie Monster.
Very much. I mean, ask me some football stats.
Ask me with my Chanel earrings.
Ask me about these Chanels and the Lion stats. I loved it. Thank you both for having me.
Where
We're
can
going to do
people
this
find
again.
you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you guys
yeah,
come
yes,
on.
yes.
Oh my gosh. Sarah Fraser Show. I put out a podcast daily. All about pop culture. I would say I'm probably known for TLC's Sister Wives, which is a show about Cody Brown, who used to have 4 wives and
Used
was a
to.
polygamist. 3 of them have left him. And the show just has this cult following, and I'm obsessed with polygamy, probably because I'll never do it. So,
I
yeah,
mean, you never know.
if you need your fix. I know. Well, I want 4 husbands. I mean, you know what I mean?
There you go.
Right? Don't you get tired of one
set
dick?
the stage. That's
I
a new
know.
TLC show.
So I say to my husband, like, don't you want 3 other guys? Like, I mean,
Like Chrissy, 10 boyfriends.
One chick, 4 dicks.
Oh my God. Well, Zach,
chicks, 4 dicks. I might make that into a t-shirt. Okay,
Zach,
anyway, Sarah Fraser everywhere.
love. Zach, is there anything you want to throw in?
Subscribe.
Listen
Keep liking,
to his
subscribe.
legal analysis.
It's
Yeah,
so
listen, there's a
good.
lot.
The
There's
bitch
a
has
lot, and we
LASIK. The
get into
glasses
it.
are fake.
Yeah. Well, but listen, you can still buy frames at PairEyewear.com. Use code NoFilter.
And on that note, we'll see y'all real soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Well, oh my God, you made it this far in the episode. First of all, thank you so much. Second of all,
subscribe.
Yeah.
What are you waiting for? Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button.
Wherever you are, just do the damn thing.
Yeah, I don't care if you're on the bus, if you're on a Tinder date. Just hit the subscribe button right now. Show us some love. That way the next episode is fresh in your inbox.
And we'll see you soon.